Hello, good Daft art evolutionaries. Today we're finally going to make some magic soup. It's going to be the first of our magic soup art evolutionary experimental recipes. The whole idea of this is to encourage more creativity and more creative thinking, more creative doing really rather than thinking. So that we can constantly access our internal freedoms, the internal freedom behind our eyes, not in front of our eyes, yeah. So, because it's like to try and encourage access to creativity for everyone, you don't need buckets of art materials. You know, if you've got some, that's great. You can just use what's lying about, your pens and pencils, and felt tip pens or whatever, just anything you've got. But, you know, if you're anything like me, I had buckets and buckets of, well, I had lots and lots of art materials in my cupboards that I never used for years, and now I use it and it's great fun, and I want to encourage you to get all that stuff out. But also, if you don't have any stuff, that's fine, because the first recipe is going to be magic soup of the bin. So the first thing we need to do is go to your bin, either your normal bin or your recycling bin, and we'll get some stuff out for materials. This is my bin in the house. All through the summer we just collect loads and loads and loads of paper and cardboard and things that we're chucking out, and we hardly ever light the stove, so it's pretty full right now. So I'm going to pick out some stuff out of here. Straight away I see these things. No, I didn't plant them in there, they're just there, so I think they're quite good. We want some things that are going to be used as tools instead of using brushes, so that'd be quite good for rolling the paint on or making little round marks or something, or scraping it. There's plenty of uses for these versatile objects. We've got some cardboard, that's interesting shapes. So we want some pieces that are going to be for painting and putting something on the background, you know, the kind of painting board. I didn't plant these, I'm just not being fussy. I think we should just not be too fussy. These are just like things for your tomatoes or whatever. Quite like that. I'll take a few bits of this cardboard. We've got an envelope, which is quite shiny. I don't know how the paint would go on that, but I quite like envelopes. I love the little windows that they have in them. We need some objects too that are going to be used for collage materials. So just don't be too fussy, like, but you know, have a good look, see what actually appeals. Don't just pick the first things that come into mind. That might be quite good. I might actually have to put this hammer down because it's a bit hard to completely. Oh, what have we got? A bit of string. Quite like that. Right, hang on. I'll be back once I've found a few things. Okay, I've done my rummaging in the bin and I found 6 things that I'm going to use as my painting boards. So they're the surfaces that we're going to be working on. I really like this one because it's an unusual shape. It's got these flaps. So yeah, I'm going to utilise the flaps. I'm not going to bother taking them off. I might take one off. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And I've got this little tray, which I thought was kind of cute. Reminds me of stuff I used to do at school or in nursery or something. And these bits of cardboard, more cardboard, but they've got sort of ripped edges, so they've got a kind of landscape feel about them already. But I'm quite interested in just finding things that aren't specific, you know, like square edges, squares or rectangles that you normally, like when you're making a piece of paper or board ready for painting on, you generally tend to fix in your head that format. This one's a bit more of that format, but it's got kind of rough edges and this already made fold in it, which is lovely. And I got an envelope which is shiny. It's got a little thing in it, little window. But I don't know, we'll see. Maybe open it up. I really like the inside as well, so I might open that one up. So these are going to be my canvases, so to speak. And then I've got these bin foraged tools which I'm going to use to apply paint. So obviously you've got a toilet roll tube. I don't know why that was in the bin, but that was, so that's kind of quite cool for splodging and stuff. This little stick, which will just be a kind of scrapey stick. And this label, which I think will be really good for kind of pulling the paint through. And another one of them, but just slightly bigger, made out of cardboard. And a cork. So that's going to be my tools for applying paint that are alternatives to using paintbrushes. And then I've got a wee pile here that are going to be utilised as collage materials. So I've got these bits of dried orange peel, which I think might be quite interesting. I've got a few of them somewhere. Oh yeah, there's a few more. And I've got, what else I got? This. No, that's for some kind of card. A bit of tape. It's come from a parcel. I've got things from a Lego, what's it called? Lego box anyway. So a few of them could be used either way. Packet of biscuits. Quite like the colour of that. Quite a good shape there too. Another envelope window. A dried leaf. A crisp packet. It's got nice bright colours on it, but also I imagine that it's silver on the inside. Yeah, silver on the inside, so that might be quite good. And this shape that I've cut, it's like a bird out of, so that might be quite an interesting thing to use. Another couple of bits of wee cardboard. So these are some of my tools for my recipe for the magic soup of the bin. For this exercise, I suggest you pick a few colours. 3 is quite a good number, not too many, not too little, and you can get plenty colours out of 3 different colours and black and white. As a kind of general rule, it's quite good to have one in the sort of blue range, one in the red range, and one in the yellowish range. I've gone a little bit off track there with these ones, but you know, it's kind of in the ballpark. And the first ingredient on applying is we're going to do 2 brush strokes. It can be any size, any shape, with any kind of brush on each of your panels. All right. Limited palette on each of my bin salvaged drawing painting canvas panels, and they're kind of funky. I'm quite interested in these. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my bin salvaged tools for application of paint, and using the same palette, I'll probably tidy it up a bit because it's gone a bit muddy. I'll do some marks. I'll do 2 marks or something like that. Yeah, 2 marks. Let's say 2 marks with using my tools. These. All these things that I've gathered. And I can, you know, I can use them in lots of different ways. So, yeah. Let's see what happens next. I've done the 2 stages of the application. I've done 2 brush marks, any size, any shape, with any kind of brush, and now I've done 2 marks on each panel. We're using some of my
bin foraged tools. So I mean they're kind of interesting. Yeah, they've got something going on. Quite a lot of energy in them. Yeah. I like the immediacy. I mean, you could say they look like a pile of shite at this stage, but it's all about exploration and not about the finished product. We're just adding stuff in and seeing what it tastes like at the end.
Okay, I'm back. My wee recycled boards with the paint on it is dry, so I'm back in the morning, and my next stage in this magic soup recipe is gonna be 2 marks on each board in a monochrome fashion, black and white or grey, silver, whatever that kind of thing is, with, you know, using pens or pencils or pastels, oil pastels, or other kinds of soft pastels. I've got some cool, really nice woody soft pencils as well. So charcoal, I've got some Posca pens, which is just paint in a pen. And yeah, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. I'm going to do 2 lines monochrome on each thing. And then I'm going to do exactly the same, but using colour. Using any of these kind of tools, these kind of dry tools that are not paint. Okay. Just gonna say, you know, like I've got loads of these things I've built up over the last couple of years and stuff, but don't be put off if you don't have very many things to work with. You can do so much with just your ordinary pens and pencils. So don't be put off, just go for it with whatever you've got. Dry pens, pencils, pastels process, and I quite enjoyed that. I did it as fast as I could and without really thinking, not thinking about anything really, trying not to think about emotions or design really. And I think it's very intuitive where you put the marks. I quite like these and what colours you choose when it comes to the colours. So I think it's going quite fun. This little tree is hilarious, I must say. I really like this actually. I like that one. And we've got that one. And this one, which is kind of funky. So now I'm going to use my bin scavenged items for some collage. And I'm going to put 2 items on each piece. So that's the next stage. I've put my collaged items on, and some of them are looking pretty funky, I must say. So the next ingredient is take a walk while the glue dries. I think that taking a walk is quite important because you reconnect with what kind of frame of mind you're in. for the final flourish, the finishing seasoning in this bin foraged magic soup recipe. So now I've had my wee walk, feel quite relaxed and ready to finish these off. So the last few ingredients is we're going to do one brush stroke using the same colour palette, one mark with one of the other tools that I've got out of the bin. I actually can't find most of them because I cleared the space last night and did something else. But you know, maybe you could use some others of anything, excuse me, anything else that's not a brush. I like this, I got this wee bit of heather, which is quite good. And this is quite a cool thing. It's just a greaseproof baking paper box, but using that serrated edge is quite good. I still do have some of my other ones. And another wee tool that I love using is a bakery tool made out of silicone. It's really great. So that's one of my favourite tools. So yeah, so we're going to do one brush stroke, one mark with a different tool, and then one final line mark with a drawing tool of your choice. And then we'll have finished! Final bit of seasoning is we're going to do one line mark with any of the dry tools, not the paint. But yeah, any of the pencils and pens and pastels, charcoal, that type of thing. Just to kind of give it a final mark. I think at this stage, oops, I just got some paint, it's not quite dry. But at this stage, I am kind of, suppose I'm a bit more thinky, because a lot of it I've just been kind of really just doing it and trying not to think and being quite intuitive. And still want to be intuitive, but I'm kind of looking at it in a compositional way. Thinking maybe what kind, does it need more colour, or does it need a dark mark or a bit more white? And where is it needing my eye to go in the piece? Or, you know, because I'm not trying to cover anything up that I don't like really, because it's only a line. But it's where it's maybe leading my eye somewhere. So I'm going to just look at all the pieces individually. I like this one, he's like a wee piggy guy. And look at them all and just see what I think first. Just have a feel of them and see how they're feeling. They're pretty wacky. This one, I'm not so sure about. This one, I don't know. Yeah, these flaps are actually quite interesting. Do I leave them both up or out and open, or do I close one? Ooh, I don't know. What do you think? Anybody got any thoughts? What should I do? Maybe I could leave that up to the viewer to decide. But no, I quite... it's very different, up or down. Quite like that. Also quite like that though. Okay, well I'll have a think about that and let you know how I go.
amazingly, I think my bin salvaged magic soup recipe I'm calling a success. I think there's loads of stuff in these that I think are really inspiring, and I'd quite happily stick them in my sketchbook, or maybe even some of them I would mount up and you know, see what they look like when they're mounted, and put on a wall. And you know, some of them are questionable, but some of them, like parts of them anyway, I really like. I love this two wee guys here, and I love the jagged edge, which I would never have done that unless I just picked out of the bin. Yeah, and normally when I'm looking for collage materials, I tend to make my own by putting paint on them and make them all arty before I even start, but just actually getting stuff out of the bin is quite good fun and surprising results. I like my wee piggy guy. I think he's cute. I'm not quite sure about that one, but actually I love this one, the unusual shape, and the fact that you can change it by putting these flaps up or down. I really love that. I think that's my favourite way. I'd love to know if any make any magic soup from the bin yourself. I'll put the recipe up in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye!